from Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings Lalate.
It's a big morning here on Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. Bernie Sanders calls this a historic day because you're getting so many checks. I'll go over all the incredible details in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the bills, the votes, the dates. The bill results and the voting results are already in. I'll have some of the details as Leader Schumer confirms the recon and the bipartisan will be done by the August recess. It's coming up in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end for the breaking news happening on this morning's LA broadcast. Then we cut to fist stimulus across the board, and then the big money that viewers continue to get. $32,000 is being gotten by viewers this channel. It's a big morning. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. Let's get to the deliciousness, starting right now on Mornings Lalate. Everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're having a beautiful full day across the board. It was a little bit warm in the middle of yesterday, but the mornings and the evenings have been paradise here in Santa Monica. High 50s at night, cold and breezy, and then during the day sunny, but not too warm. It's been paradise. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from this morning. And how's the weather? In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, so much breaking news. We're going to go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. I'll go over all the incredible details about this fourth stimulus recon, a historic day with so many checks coming to you. Then we cut to the final 15 minutes of this video, stay to the very end, with a lot of breaking news across the board. Leader Schumer confirms the recon and the bipartisan will be done by the August recess. Wow, this is incredible, great news. I'll be going over the voting results so far, and we'll be going over what other preparations have been in place and whether the recon is going for a vote first. Then we got to fifth stimulus as well that heats up this fall. And then we get to this incredible deliciousness. Wow. Viewers are getting over $32,000 from this channel for rent, utilities, food, and more. I'm going to show you how to get this big money because this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America, live in the morning like right now, and then take to the afternoons. Coming up next is noontime LA live on air, mornings crypto right after this video, both live on air, and then we go into afternoons LA at 1, 3 a new o'clock new show, and 5 o'clock a new evenings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. 400,000 in 1 year. Thank you for all the incredible subscriber growth and all the viewership growth all week long. It's been incredible. Join us this month as August shows a brand new LA as it expands its programming and all its production capabilities. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's cut into that monthly stimulus check starting right now. House bill versus Senate approach, both monthly, both delicious, but slightly different. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year. Senate approach, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month. Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. 3 weeks ago, we were talking about the pandemic not over. But boy, if you were on social media, especially Twitter last night, you saw at 3 o'clock, Delta Plus was trending because of new concerns of a new variant strain called Delta Plus. And then 2 hours later, guess what was trending? Lambda, the latest variant strain, which is causing more worries because it's much more resilient than initially thought. With that news, the House bill would certainly pay pandemic plus 1 year. And that House bill would pay more than 1 year. It would pay more than 12 checks. And those 12 checks from the House would pay more than $13,000. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House of Senate, House of Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather where you are this beautiful morning's broadcast. Well, who gets that fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that you've got a third, you get a fourth. Single individual, 75,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 less. Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four. Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, VA, Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check will be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents the Democrats represent. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. I keep on messing this one up. It's a monthly check. I went to Senator Ron Portman's pork belly roast last weekend. He's the guy that's doing your infrastructure bill. He's also the guy that last year said, "You're lazy, get back to work. I'm counting off your unemployment benefits." Well, I walked in, got one of those sandwiches, took a bite, and realized it needs more work on it. Get back to work on your sandwich, Ron Portman. So I walked up to him from afar, and I said, "Hi, Senator Portman." "Hello, Lalate. I recognize you from your purple shirts. How are you?" "Good. I didn't want to wave at you from afar." "No, I'm not a waivable check." I said, "Senator Ron Portman, you need to get more back to work. This hamburger, this sandwich is half cooked. Get back to work. I'm cutting off your unemployment benefits." "Get out of here, Lalate." He didn't appreciate my congressional humor. Needless to say, he's working on the infrastructure, and he says it's exhausting. Get back to work on that as well, Ron Portman. In the second half of this video, we'll be cutting into the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. Bernie Sanders calls it a historic day for the American people because this is the single biggest payout we've ever seen of checks going to the American people. $3.5 trillion of checks. It's for seniors, it's for workers, it's for all walks of life. I'll go over some of those checks in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the deal. Done. We go to the recon and the bipartisan, and one piece of legislation is already being voted on, and both pieces of legislation will be done by Friday, says one person. Another person, it says, by the August recess, and I have all the deliciousness and why the recon is going for a vote first. Yes, it's coming up in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to that final 15. But first, let's get some money. Get that pen and paper ready. I'm going to get you some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utilities. Because when I first started recording these videos a few weeks ago, I said I can get you $5,000 of rent. $5,000 of rent, I said. Well, I was unfortunately wrong. I didn't get viewers $5,000 from this channel. I got them this. Oh my goodness. Wow. Elizabeth got $27,000 as being a viewer of LLA, as a viewer of this channel and watching my videos. Mark got $25,000 for rent as being a Purple Power viewer. Incredible, Mark. Congratulations. Nancy, congratulations. $24,000 for rent. Richard, $22,000. Nisi, $22,000. I also have Pamela, who got $12,000. Carla got some money. Tiffany, $13,000 for rent. Randy, $6,000. Jennifer, $5,000. Celia got money. And I got people overnight sending me incredible messages. And then when we talked about utilities, I said I can get you $300 of utilities. Then I realized viewers were getting $3,000. Well, what's happening now with utilities? Let's look at this. Whoa, Nancy is getting $7,000 of utilities from this channel. Mark got $6,500 of utilities as being a Purple Power viewer of LLA. Angela got $5,000 as being a Purple Power viewer of LA. And then when we talk about Snap, I said $5,000 to $6,000. What happened with that? Louie. Killing it. $18,000 for Snap. Incredible. Congratulations, Louie. John, $10,000. Nancy. And then finally, people getting multiple sums of money from being viewers of L8. Let's look at the graphic. Wow. Nancy, $32,000. Mark, $32,000 with 2 items. Nisi, $23,000. Incredible. I have never seen such achievement. I really, really congratulate you. And this is LA. This is what we do. We cash checks We don't track them. In spring of last year, EID alone checks were not coming. They weren't trackable, but I stepped in. I got $25 million of EID loans and grant checks approved. The biggest anywhere on the internet, on broadcast media, anywhere from my videos, saving people's businesses, their homes, and also their employees' homes. But in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not coming. And I stepped forward and I got viewers $250,000 of rent. Tyrone and his family, 4 out of Boston, got them $15,000 of rent, paying all their rent from December to January to February. But now we're doing the same. The only difference is you. You're killing it. I've never seen numbers like this. So get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to get you some money for rent, utilities, food, and internet. I'm going to show you different places to reach out to. Each place has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Also listen for my keywords I mentioned because viewers say the keywords are helping get them approved. Are you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. That's it. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Kristen Sinema's fan club. She has one. I didn't know that. No, it doesn't exist. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful money for rent. And if you got money for rent, utilities, post in the live chat right now. Let's cut to SNAP. SNAP is money for food. You get it from Department of Agriculture. Eligibility for SNAP is easier than a stimulus check. And how much does it pay? It pays a fortune. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000. Wow, why is so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up nationally. 15% between now and December. Louis got $18,000. Yes, Louis. John, $10,000 to $12,000. Len Glenn got it for herself, her son, and mom, and Gail got it as well. If you got it, post in live chat. And there we go. We're killing it. $27,000 for rent, $7,000 for utilities, $18,000 for SNAP, and we are only 11 minutes in this video. I got more money for you right now, and it's the money coming back from your state due to overpayment and a computer error. The federal government has ordered that money returned back to you. One viewer got $3,000, another viewer got $5,000. How much and where does it land? First, where does it land? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah, contact your state and say, hey, state, where is that check due to computer error? And when you track it, can you turn the computer on this time? It sort of helps too. Yeah, computer humor. There you go. And then we cut to the wonderful last refund check. It's the one coming back from IRS. It's the payment you paid on that 2020 tax return. Margaret got it, Cog got it, Michael got it. Where is it landing? It's landing in the mail or by direct deposit. But first, here's a personal message for you. If you're in the live chat and you've gotten rent, utilities, mortgage, or homeowner's assistance, if it's $1 or $100 or more, post your success stories in live chat because that's the spirit of the Purple Power, a loving community. And when you do that, you help other people 3 different ways. 1, when they see people posting their success stories, they see, wait a second, I should go get this money. I should go get SNAP. I qualify for this. I never knew about this. Let me go get that money because someone else is getting it. You inspire other people. Number 2, Art Sullivan got 3 items from this channel. So did Nisi at 23,000. When viewers got 1 item, realized people got 3 items, then they realized, wait a second, let me go get the other 2. So Mark actually got 2 items at 32,000. So Mark, go get the 3rd. You'll get to 40,000. And finally, it updates us about the numbers. We realize the numbers are much bigger than we knew. Go get those numbers. All right, let's cut back to those unemployment benefits. Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah. And also, IRS says it's a waivable check. Sorry, Ron. The latest wave, the payment is $1,265. Direct deposit started July 14th. Paper checks July 16th. A new wave every week. Can you track it? Yes. Go to irs.gov. Do a transcript search, and 70% of the time it'll work. It'll reveal the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. It also reveals some stuff that you wish you never knew, wish you never saw. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search and he sung his wonderful semifinal song, and it was a tribute to Chuck Schumer. Was it Slave to You by Britney? And then it'll reveal the refund check you're getting back from IRS. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your 4 stimulus check update right now, and deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you, the American people. This is a historic day, says Bernie Sanders. These are checks he fought for nearly a generation, and now they're coming to you. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, checks for everyone. It's $3.5 trillion of checks. Deal done. All 50 Democratic senators, including her, all agreed in the last 2 weeks they're doing it with that price tag. How did they achieve this? Well, before July 4th, the recon had roads and bridges in there and was unpassable at the time. So what did they do? They took the roads and bridges out and put it into something called the bipartisan, shrinking the recon to where it is now and making the roads and bridges passable and the recon both passable. The confirmation comes from a conservative publication. It reports the same as what I'm reporting. The higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, roads and bridges, and put it into the bipartisan, it made the overall price tag of the recon smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. But the recon also made the bipartisan passable, because both are now getting passed by the August recess, says Chuck Schumer. Yes, that's coming up in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. How do we get to the spot? Well, once the progressives shrunk the recon by taking roads and bridges out, they were able to blow it up a little bit more and got to a big, bold number they're ecstatic about, $3.5 trillion. This is what Representative Ilhan Omar had asked for. We got to get a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon. $3.5 trillion. Congratulations. Representative Richie Torres said we have to have a recon that goes larger. You got it, Richie. Congratulations. And the Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure the recon goes big and bold enough. They got it. How did they achieve this? They achieved this by protecting the recon. The president was telling the progressives to protect the recon. Schatz, Democrat, and Jayapal, Democrat, both confirmed the White House was saying, protect my recon. It's all progressive priorities. The White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon its own priorities. If you saw my Twitter tweets overnight, Representative Cori Bush out of St. Louis, achieved a great achievement for the progressives overnight. She was having walk-ins, sit-ins on Capitol Hill as a progressive out of St. Louis, pushing the president to extend the eviction moratorium, and it worked. The progressives have been meeting with the president literally every day, day in, day out, and the president has been really well taking care of those progressives for over 2 months. So another achievement between the unity of the president and the progressives in the last 60 days. Well, what is a recon? How does it get voted on? What are the other words for it? And what is the difference between a recon and the bipartisan? Let's go over all the details starting right now. On this channel, I use 2 words. I use recon, your money, and then I use the bipartisan to describe the roads and bridges. It's pretty easy, but the problem is that broadcast media, 70 to 90% of the time, is using incorrect reporting. They're using the wrong term with the wrong piece of legislation, swapping them, interchanging them incorrectly, or they're using one word to describe both of them when you can't. They're 2 different pieces of legislation. Let's go over all the terminology so you're educated on this better than they are. Recon is your money, also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill. Price tag $3.5 trillion. This is your money. People quoted an article about this, a Bernie Sanders, an AOC, or a Nancy Pelosi. Bipartisan, also called the roads and bridges, also called the infrastructure. People quoting an article about this, a Kristen Sinema, Ron Portman, or Mitt Romney. Its price tag, less than $1 trillion. Okay, that's easy when it's explained. So who writes a recon? A recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. And who actually put pen to paper? House subcommittee members with the help of Senate subcommittee members. Under the Constitution, the House subcommittees are delegated different subject matters when writing legislation. For example, House Subcommittee is responsible, House Ways and Means Subcommittee is responsible for writing stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. When each of those House subcommittees are done, they combine their pieces of legislation together. Let's say there's 10 subcommittees and 10 pages. They combine it, send it off to Chuck. That's 100 pages, and he puts a big S on it. And that S is for salty. Sugary. So what? Schumerish. Laverne and Shirley. No, it's for Senate. And that's your recon. That's your recon bill. But before we have that recon bill, we have an emoji. Not bill yet. Yes, that emoji means a lot of things because guess what? Under the Constitution, there's no rule of transparency. Those House subcommittee members don't have to show you what they're voting on, what they're voting against, what they're taking in, what they're taking out. And until we see the recon, we don't see the recon. When we do see the recon, then we have another emoji. It's called Not Law Yet. And in the third part of this video, we'll be going over why that's important, because the House and Senate Democrats are saying they're going to modify the recon. That's good news for you. But where we are right now, not bill yet. And broadcast media and I agree upon one subject matter, which is we just don't have it. We don't have the recon. Until we don't have it, we don't know for definitive purposes what's in there. So if you see someone that posts a comment that says, I haven't heard of this in the recon. Well, the reason I haven't heard is because we don't have it yet. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album, doesn't want you to hear the songs before it's released, and probably doesn't want you to hear the songs because she doesn't want Mitch to go back on Sarge Search and start singing them. Can we top that? We can. I like that one. Can we top that? We can. As Jalapal recently wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck called the vote on the recon. Well, guess what? He is calling the vote on the recon. And it's all going to become law by the August recess. That's coming up in the final 15 minutes of the video. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of 100-plus House Democrats, yes, 100, who recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Yes. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee, the same one just went over, recently wrote the president a letter saying we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Whoa, Purple Power, you got to keep these people their promises. They're promising you monthly fourth stimulus checks from that House Ways and Means Subcommittee members. You got to keep them their promise. They also promise they're giving you fifth. That's coming up later in this video. Can we top that? We can. The president did it. 6 weeks ago, he went overseas for a ceremonial signature, but the actual signature happened a few days ago. What is it? It's for an exhausting thing called the Global Minimum Corporate Tax Rate Minimum. Oh, I'm exhausted just saying it. Why is this great news for fourth stimulus? Because this exhausting, confusing thing is not in there. Number one, easier to write the recon because the confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to call the vote on the recon because the confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to vote on the recon because it ain't in there. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, voting results are in. 2 pieces of legislation, a big promise that is done by the August recess, a confirmation from Ron Portman as to what's going to get done by Friday. Which one goes first? All the details you need to know, the bills, the votes, and the dates, it's coming up in the final 15 minutes of this video, plus for stimulus. But something more wonderful than that? Even more wonderful than that, the volunteers. The true spirit of the Purple Power is viewers helping viewers. And these volunteers have stepped forward to unequivocally help you. They are absolute salt of the earth. How do you find them? If you've had problems finding that rent, utilities, or food or internet on your own accord, always try first. But if you can't find it, don't worry. They'll help you. Go to the description of this video. Down in the description, you'll see an emoji of a house. Click the link. It'll send you over to the community page. It's news.lla/community. On that page will be some kitty cats. They're not the volunteers. Go lower on the page, you'll find the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook and more. They'll help you get that big money, and here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Mornings Lalate continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now live from Santa Monica on a big Mornings LA with incredible breaking news you're going to hear for the first time in this broadcast. How are you? The toast is toasted and the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and happy birthday to Gunner. Happy birthday to Gunner. Wish him a big happy birthday, and happy birthday to Laura's husband for tomorrow. How are you? Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, fastest growing channel there is, and a loving community where people help each other and help people along the way. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Coming up next is Morning's Crypto live on air. It's a brand new show. Stay with me. It starts right after this video. And then we go into noontime, live on air, also at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, YouTube record. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's cut into where the president left us on the campaign trail. He said that he was going to deliver that SSI and SSDI lift. He did not. And then during the transition papers, he said he was going to do it again. He did not. So what have the Democratic senators and House members done for you? They've stepped up and taken care of it. It will be fifth stimulus. When will that be? They'll start legislating it and writing in September. It will go to a vote about November, and the benchmark will hit in December. Your benefit lift will come in November, and then the benchmark, when applied, would be the following January. This is the SSI reform, and this is fifth stimulus. How does it work? Number one, they'll raise your benefit limits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. And who is this for? It's for you. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. First step, they'll raise your benefits up lifetime. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. When? December. What is the benchmark? Inflation. So where's inflation going? It's becoming transitory. Transitory? What does that mean? It's a fancy word from Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, who said it just a week ago. It means a temporary spike. And in December, right when they apply your benefits, yes, it's great news. So where's that inflation rate going to go? I've been reporting 5%. This morning, new economic data came out. That new economic number was the number of jobs created in the U.S. economy last month. This is not the number of jobs taken, so you don't take into account whether people want the job or not take the job. This is actually the number of jobs created. It was horrible. Very few jobs. Worst number since February during the middle of the pandemic. So not a good number, showing that inflation may really be ravaging strongly. So let's go over our number. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll apply the benchmark. And the benchmark is 5%. Your benefits will step up 5%. Not just next year. Lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, you'll be at plus 2% as well. Then they're going to move the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. It's going to go away, and you'll have some room for some stimulus checks and some periwinkle. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and get on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away, and you'll be able to do a pair dance. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and do a pair dance at their wedding and no longer fear loss of benefits. And if your benefits were canceled before because of marriage, they'll be restored. That's this stimulus. But boy, if you're in the live chat and you notice people posting all their success stories and they have an emoji next to their name, you wonder, how do I get that one? Consider becoming a member, because this is what this channel does, and this is why Purple Power viewers are winning. When second stimulus was passed and there was a $600 stimulus check, I said, $600, I'll get you $6,000. I didn't. I got viewers 14,000, like Tyrone, family of four out of Boston. And when third stimulus passed earlier this year, you remember what I said. I said, okay, it's a $1,400 stimulus check. I'm going to get you 14,000. If everyone's focused on just $1,400 stimulus checks elsewhere, the Purple Hawks are going to be focused on getting the tens of thousands of dollars. And this is what Purple Hawks got from third stimulus: 27, 25,000, 7,000, and then multiple items across the board, $32,000. They learned from the recordings that these stimulus packages have tens of thousands of dollars in there. That is where your focus should be, and that is where the true deliciousness is. And as Purple Hawks, they pounce. And when fourth stimulus becomes law, I'm going to get you every penny of that 3.5 trillion as well. So subscribe. So become a member. The link is under the video where it says become a member here. And with that, let's go into the final 15 of the final 7 starting right now with all the breaking news on this big morning to Lalate, starting with the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you, the American people. This is the recon. The Democratic senators met twice in the last week, including her. They all said they're passing the recon. They're passing it at the price tag of $3.5 trillion. All they have to do is call the vote. This is great news because Bernie Sanders describes this recon money as a historic day for the American people. He fought for a generation for much of this money to come to you. And now, after over a generation, all these checks are coming to you. $3.5 trillion of checks. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, checks for all walk of life. Remember, this is fourth stimulus, not third stimulus in those children's checks. So while we do not have yet the recon bill, we have some of the items that are in there. And here are some of the items in that fourth stimulus, $3.5 trillion recon stimulus checks. Checks for free school meals for all, checks for tax breaks, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for immigration reforms, checks for farming, checks for elections, checks for free internet. They're going to give fortunes to local cities so that they can provide you free internet across the board in all states and territories. Then clean energy checks, and here come checks for my seniors and checks for my workers. First, my workers, checks for independent contractors, checks for unions, and collect checks for more. Then checks for my seniors, checks for Medicare expansion, checks for vision, checks for lowering the eligibility age, checks for dental, and checks for hearing care as well. Wow. Let's cut over to the roads and bridges. Well, we got a bill. We have a bill. And the bill is on the Senate floor for the bipartisan roads and bridges. And the voting has started. And the voting results are in. Now, don't be cause of alarm. Do not think the bipartisan is going first. It's just the voting on the amendments. The recon is still going first. I'm getting to that in 1 second. So the amendments are exciting for 2 reasons. Actually, 3 great reasons. 1, the timing. 2, the speed, and 3, the support. Let's go over all the details. We're starting on the Senate side, then going to the House. I had said to you over the week before, I don't know if they're doing the amendments for the infrastructure, roads and bridges first or last. I never thought they would do it first. And so I'm ecstatic they're doing it first. Why? Because they're trying to save time. This is when the amendments are happening. And they've already voted on amendments, and they've already been dealing with them. For example, one amendment was called for a vote that tried to implode, cancel, and terminate the entire roads and bridges. It failed. Now, that's what's called a poison pill, where they try to have an amendment that just basically ends everything. You don't want roads and bridges to end because the president says, I have to have both pieces of legislation on my table, not one. So, next item, number 2, is the bipartisan group, Mitt Romney, Kristen Sinema, Ron Portman, and similar, have all done a wonderful thing. They said, we are now aligned to block all amendments as a team. So if anyone throws an amendment at me to try to prevent the roads and bridges from becoming law, we're blocking it. That's great news, because remember, you have to have the roads and bridges passed because the president won't sign the recon by itself. It has to have both the recon and bipartisan. So that's great news. Ron Portman's doing that. Number 3, Ron Portman made a promise yesterday. His promise is that the roads and bridges, the bipartisan, will become law by Friday. Friday? A little bit wishful thinking. I'll get to that in a second, but it's great news. Next, Mitch McConnell spoke. Remember, Mitch does not determine how things are done, but he said that he hopes that Leader Schumer will not block amendments, that Schumer will let amendments flow. I think that's good, but I think that Schumer wants something to be done about the situation as well. All right, let's cut now to the recon. Guess what? Your recon is going for a vote first. Wow, this is great news. Now, this is the actual bill, not the amendments to something. This is great news. We have confirmation from the president, Chuck, Nancy, and Jalapal. First, let's go to the president. The president confirms that you can't just send him roads and bridges or he's throwing it in the garbage can. The infrastructure, the roads and bridges, if only one comes to me, and it's only one that comes to me, I'm not signing it. They have to come to me in tandem. Yes, The roads and bridges and the recon have to come to him in tandem. He then goes on to say, I'm not just signing the bipartisan roads and bridges and forgetting about the other rest of the legislation I proposed, the recon. I propose another piece of legislation, the recon, and they're both equally important. Great news. Second, Leader Schumer confirms in the last 7 days multiple times that the recon is going for final vote out of the Senate first before the roads and bridges. Oh, yes, that's great news. Third, Nancy Pelosi had a meeting with Bernie Sanders. She's in the House, he's in the Senate. Remember, we're starting in the Senate, going to the House. And what did she tell Bernie? Exactly what he wanted to hear, that her position is unchanged. Thank goodness, she has your back. Her position is you have to send from the Senate to the House the recon, your money, first. Do not send Nancy in the House from the Senate, the bipartisan first, or it's going to the wastebasket. And this is what Nancy said before about this. As I said, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill first in the House. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the words ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan bill in the House unless we have the recon bill passed by the United States Senate first. Great news. Then finally, Jalopal confirms as well. We did a poll of our members, Democrats, recently, and the overwhelming majority of our Democrats said they're not going to vote for the bipartisan unless it comes with the recon. Great news. All right, let's now cut back to dates and representations. So Leader Schumer confirms both the recon and the bipartisan will be passed into law by the August recess. Oh, that's great news. Wonderful, wonderful news. Do I think they're going to get done by the August recess? I think they may need a few extra days, but there's something working in our favor to get it done exactly by the August recess, if not a few days later. They're getting tired. The Senate has been in session now, its longest period in almost 15 years. This Senate session is very long, and the number of hours they're working is abnormally long. They've been doing this for a few weeks. These senators, many of them are over 80 years old, and they've been working 27-hour days, and they say they're done. They want to get this done and be finished, so they don't want to drag this out. They're losing steam, so they don't want to continue doing it. They want to finish it. So their age, the exhaustion of it, how many days they've been in session for the Senate, and Chuck Schumer sort of pushing them to keep on moving is really helping getting this finished. He's wearing them down, which is helping us. Now, here's something I want you to understand very clearly, is the Senate is in session, but what does the word in session mean? The House is not in session, but I want you to understand what the word in session means. This, if you were with me a year ago, was a series of funny videos on this channel called Hi Fox News. Last year, Fox News ran a series of articles that said, they're not in session, so expect nothing to be done till the following year. Here's what you need to know. The word in session is constantly used in incorrect reporting. What does in session mean? It means there's a building, the Congress, and in the Congress there's certain rooms, and one of the rooms is the House of Representatives floor where they vote. If they're not in session, the door is locked. And where are they? Well, some people will want you to believe that they're out of the Western Hemisphere. They're in the South Pacific. In session, when they're not in session, they're just gone. They're 500 miles away. They're 20 time zones away. They're in a far galaxy. No, they're down the hall. No joke. They're down the hall. When they're not in session, it doesn't mean they're gone from the building. They're literally down the hall. And so if they want to be put back into session and they're down the hall, they just pick up the phone and say, you're in session in about an hour. Get ready to vote. It's as simple as that for the purposes of the House. Number two, if they really weren't in town, guess what? Steny Hoyer and Nancy Pelosi have already done this twice before. They've even announced it this week that they can bring them back into session within 24-hour notice. They did it all throughout 2020. I record a lot of videos when they did it, and they'll do it again. So the fact that the House is not in session doesn't mean anything other than they're down the hall. Let's cut now to the bill. Here's what you need to know, is that we do not have the recon bill yet. And we have an emoji for it, not bill yet. But when we do see that recon bill, this is what's critically important. And I want you to repeat it back to me. Not law yet. We have an emoji for this. Why is this so important? The recon, when it debuts, may be imperfect. It may need to be modified. And guess what? Democratic House members and Democratic senators have said, I'm modifying the recon when it debuts. Whoa, why is this great news? Because it's likely to be imperfect, and they're ready to modify it. Why? The current recon has been worked up by a series of people who are in subcommittees, and that's not a lot of people. It's just a handful of people who have had their hands on the recon. There are 50 Democratic senators. There's over 100 House Democratic senators who have had no time to touch the recon, and they're ready to modify it. And trust me, people want to modify this recon. The progressives had done a wonderful achievement over the last 2 months of staying aligned with the president. Representative Cori Bush from the first congressional district of St. Louis achieved a major milestone for the American people this week as having had a sit-in on the Capitol steps as a progressive to push the president to extend the eviction moratorium in the CDC. The president did it based upon Cori Bush's incredible work. That is what Democratic senators, Democratic House members are doing by modifying positions. Eviction moratorium was done and dead 2 days ago. It's no longer dead because progressive made changes at the 11th hour. Things are changed by the 11th hour for the good all across the board. And with that, stay with me because Overnight's Crypto is coming up next, because guess what? That legislation in the roads and bridges to regulate crypto is a fascinating twist of the turn. I'll have more about that on Morning's Crypto coming up next live on air. Then join me at noontime at 11 a.m. live on air as well. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member so you get the $32,000 like Nancy, the $32,000 like Richard, and the $23,000 like Nancy. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with Lalate for more.